There is a company in the Netherlands that almost nobody outside the investment world has heard of. It does not make phones. It does not make laptops. It does not make the chips inside your computer. What it makes is the machine that makes the machine, that makes the chip inside your computer. And here is the part that should stop you for a second. There is only one company on Earth that builds this machine. One. Not two. Not a close race between competitors. One company. And without it, NVIDIA cannot make a single GPU. Apple cannot make a single iPhone chip. The entire artificial intelligence revolution, running right now on data centers across the world, stops. The company is called ASML. And the fact that you may be hearing that name for the first time today is exactly why this video exists.
To understand why ASML matters, you need to understand one thing about how chips are made. Modern chips, the ones inside your phone, your laptop, NVIDIA's AI processors, are not carved or drilled. They are printed, like a photograph. Patterns are projected onto a silicon wafer using light, layer by layer, hundreds of times, until a chip emerges. The machines that do this printing are called lithography systems. And the more advanced the chip, the shorter the wavelength of light you need to print it. For the most advanced chips in the world right now, the ones powering ChatGPT, NVIDIA's data centers, Apple's latest silicon, the wavelength needed is called extreme ultraviolet light. Generating this light requires firing a laser at a tiny droplet of molten tin, 50,000 times per second, at speeds faster than a bullet, inside a vacuum chamber, to produce a flash of light that lasts less than a billionth of a second.
The machine that does all of this costs roughly $300 million, takes years to build, weighs as much as a commercial aircraft, and requires 40 trucks, 3 cargo planes, and 20 installation specialists to deliver. Why should you care about a droplet of tin? Because if this process fails, if the supply of these machines is ever cut off, the global production of AI chips does not slow down, it collapses. That is how thin the line is between the AI boom you are hearing about every day and a total technology blackout. Only one company in the world knows how to build this machine. That company spent 30 years and roughly $10 billion learning how. And no competitor, not in the United States, not in Japan, not in China, has come close to replicating it. Now let's put actual numbers on what this monopoly looks like. ASML holds 100% market share in EUV lithography. Not 90%, not 95%, 100. Every single advanced chip made anywhere on Earth, at TSMC in Taiwan, at Samsung in South Korea, at Intel in the United States, runs through an ASML machine. There is no alternative. There is no second supplier. There is no workaround. In 2025, ASML generated 32.7 billion euros in revenue, up 15% from the year before. Earnings per share grew 28.5% in the same period. For 2026, ASML guided revenue between 34 billion and 39 billion euros. Their current backlog, orders already placed, money already committed, sits at 38.8 billion euros. To put that in perspective, 38.8 billion euros is larger than the entire annual GDP of many countries. That money is already sitting in ASML's pocket before they ship a single machine. One company, 100% market share, a backlog bigger than most national economies, and every AI chip company on the planet is their customer. Here is the link that most coverage misses. When people talk about NVIDIA's dominance in AI, they talk about software platforms. They talk about Jensen Huang. They talk about data centers and GPU clusters. What they rarely talk about is that NVIDIA's chips are physically manufactured at TSMC, Taiwan's semiconductor manufacturing company. And TSMC cannot build those chips without ASML's EUV machines. So the actual supply chain looks like this. ASML builds the machine. TSMC uses the machine to print NVIDIA's chip design onto silicon. NVIDIA sells that chip to Microsoft, Google, Amazon for their AI data centers. Those data centers run the models that power ChatGPT, Gemini, and every other AI product you use today.
Remove ASML from that chain, and it does not slow down. It stops. This is what investors call a picks and shovels play. During a gold rush, the people who reliably made money were not always the miners. They were the people selling the picks and shovels to every miner, regardless of who struck gold. ASML is the shovel. NVIDIA, AMD, Apple, Samsung, they are all miners buying from the same one store, the store that has no competition. But if this company is so powerful, why is almost nobody talking about it? The answer lies in a secret war between the United States and China that ASML never asked to be part of, and one that is now threatening to redraw the entire map of global technology.
Here is where it gets geopolitical. And this is important because it is the single biggest risk sitting on top of this monopoly right now. China wants to build advanced chips. To build advanced chips, China needs EUV machines. EUV machines come from ASML. ASML is in the Netherlands. The United States pressured the Dutch government to restrict ASML from shipping its most advanced EUV systems to China. The Netherlands agreed. Export restrictions went into effect. ASML can no longer sell its newest machines to Chinese customers. The financial impact is already showing up. China was 33% of ASML's revenue in 2025. By the first quarter of 2026, that had already dropped to 19%, nearly cut in half in a single quarter. That is a real number, a real hit, and it is not going away.
But here is the other side that the headlines miss. By blocking China from accessing advanced lithography, the export restrictions are also reinforcing the concentration of advanced chip manufacturing at TSMC and Samsung, both of which buy exclusively from ASML. The countries being protected happen to be ASML's best customers. China, meanwhile, is spending billions trying to build a domestic alternative. They are years behind. Their machines work at older, less precise wavelengths. The gap is not narrowing fast enough to change the equation in the near term.
Now, the part that should make any investor pause. ASML is expensive. Very expensive. Investors right now are paying a massive premium for this stock, betting that everything goes perfectly. The growth continues. The next generation machines get adopted on time. Taiwan stays stable. China restrictions do not escalate. But here is the problem with betting that everything goes perfectly. In the world of geopolitics, nothing ever goes perfectly. The market is pricing ASML as though four conditions will all hold simultaneously: continued growth, smooth machine adoption, intact customer expansion plans, and no geopolitical disruption in Taiwan. 3 of those 4 are currently holding. The fourth, Taiwan, is the one that no financial model on Earth can price with confidence, and the current stock price offers zero discount for that uncertainty. If ASML is a monopoly, and it is a monopoly whose single most important customer base is concentrated in one of the most geopolitically sensitive places on the planet. That is not a reason to dismiss the company. It is a reason to understand exactly what you are paying for. Here is what makes ASML genuinely different from most monopolies. This is not a monopoly built on patents that will expire, or network effects that a better-funded competitor could replicate in 3 years. This is a monopoly built on 30 years of physics. The knowledge required to build an EUV machine is not in a single patent filing. It is distributed across 40,000 engineers, across a supply chain that took decades to assemble, across proprietary optics, laser systems, and vacuum chambers that no single company has been able to reverse engineer. The mirrors inside the EUV machine are made by a German optics company called Carl Zeiss. Those mirrors have to be so perfectly smooth that if you scaled one up to the size of Germany, the largest bump on the surface
would be less than 1 millimeter tall. ASML's supply chain has been building components like this for decades. China has tried to build a domestic alternative. The best machine they have produced currently operates at a wavelength roughly 10 times less precise than ASML's EUV systems. The AI chips that NVIDIA needs require ASML's wavelength, not China's. The moat is not legal, it is physical, and that makes it significantly harder to bridge.
So where does this leave you, as someone thinking about your financial future? 3 things worth knowing clearly. First, if you own any broad technology index fund, you likely already own ASML. It is Europe's most valuable technology company. It sits inside most global tech ETFs. If you have not checked, check. Second, ASML and NVIDIA are not interchangeable bets. NVIDIA is a bet on which company wins the AI chip race. ASML is a bet that the race happens at all.
One is a directional bet. The other is closer to a toll road. Different risk profiles. Different reasons to own or avoid each. Third, ASML guided revenue of 44 to 60 billion euros by 2030. If its next-generation machine adoption accelerates, the numbers work. If it slows, or if Taiwan's situation deteriorates, the premium investors are paying today has nowhere to hide. The monopoly is real. The moat is real. The risks are also real, and they are not the ones that usually make the headlines. Here is the thing about companies like ASML. They are not exciting in the way NVIDIA is exciting. There is no CEO in a leather jacket at a product launch. There are no Reddit threads about it. There is just a factory in Veldhoven, Netherlands, that quietly builds machines that the entire technology industry cannot function without, and has been doing it for 30 years without a competitor getting close enough to matter. The loudest investments are rarely the most important ones. The company enabling the AI revolution is not the one on the front page. It is the one making the machine that makes the chip, that runs the model, that generates the headline. That is usually where the real leverage sits, not in the thing everyone is watching, in the thing that makes the thing everyone is watching possible. If this kind of analysis is what you want more of, the layer underneath the headline, subscribe to Matt Finance. We covered SpaceX's hidden mechanics. We covered the forced buying your retirement account did not tell you about. Now, ASML. The pattern is the same every time. The story that matters is usually one level deeper than the story everyone is telling. See you in the next one.